welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. Now, I spoke recently, it could have been yesterday, about edition lifespans and is 5e going to be different than other prior editions and such. And you know what? Spencer from Keep on the Borderlands left us a message, and it's an interesting thought. So let's listen to Spencer.
Hey Eric, Spencer here from Keep Off the Borderlands. Just listening to you talking about the integrity of the 5e books, and the cynic in me started wondering, how much of that is maybe cost cutting in production, but how much of it is planned obsolescence. I mean, even if you're going to stick with a system, one day or another, you're going to have to replace those books. Just a thought.
Planned obsolescence. I really, and not that the system itself will go out of vogue or start to fall apart, which can happen with all the splat books and stuff, and that I don't think that's the issue here. But yeah, your book's falling apart. See, there's if your books are going to fall apart right from the start, it means that WotC has to replace them. But if your books fall apart, EO2 down the line with heavy use, then I'm guessing that you have to replace them. I look back to my AD&D days, my player's handbook, my DMG took a beating. Oh my God. But the spine never broke, pages never came loose, nothing ever fell out of it. My monster manual survived actually pretty well too until my basement got flooded and it picked up some slimy mold on the cover. I wound up having to throw out my monster manual. The Fiend Folio didn't seem to have the same lasting power. It still works, but that spine started to get loose. The cardboard part of the spine, whatever they call it, I guess. This is the spine. Started not looking so great. And then my Unearthed Arcana, that shit, and I don't mean to really call it shit, but I used it a lot, don't get me wrong. But that started peeling, the spine started coming off, it needed tape repair. Now, was that the idea that the earlier printings of the Player's Handbook and the DMG, maybe they were using, I don't know, textbook printers, and then TSR, Gary, whoever was the bean counters at that point for TSR, decided to go for cheaper printing with the idea that maybe the planned obsolescence, the wear and tear, would require replacement. It's interesting. I do know this. With my 2E books, the spines were broken on those things and peeling off probably within that first year. Now, admittedly, this is my college years, and we played constantly, at least once a week, if not more. High school, we played in the summertime. Jesus. Probably every fucking day when we weren't working. Most of us weren't. And then you look forward to, and we're looking forward now, we're going to talk about Starfinder. Starfinder, I remember hearing when the first print run was falling apart. And I've heard similar comments about the first print run of Pathfinder 2. I don't own either one. I can't speak of it, and I certainly, I'm just talking about what I've heard from talk about on social media in the industry. Then I've heard people who have copies that are perfectly fine. Is it cost cutting or planned obsolescence or neither? just bad luck? I don't know. When it comes to 5e, I don't think it's planned obsolescence. You have to remember, the bean counters are looking to save every fraction of a penny on each copy they can because it all affects the bottom line. Not every company is going to be Frog God Games, which uses a textbook printer for their hardcover books. It's expensive. If you want to be able to put things on store shelves for a price where people might still impulse buy it, or when I go to Amazon and see these deep discounts and go, oh, I can't pass that up, you got to keep your costs in line. You can't spend more than you need. Now, where's that point? Where does it go? When does cutting costs become cutting quality? You know what? There's only one person that can make that call, and that's the consumer. Now, if you're buying from a publisher and their books are constantly falling apart on you before you feel their lifespan has been reached, then maybe you should think twice about shopping or purchasing items from that publisher again. I don't know. But again, time will tell. With the 5 ebooks, again, the reports I've heard with some people who's got pages falling out of them within a couple of readings, that's not planned obsolescence. And that might not even be penny pinching. It might just be a bad print run. Okay, you certainly don't want your stuff falling apart the moment people buy it, because then they're not going to buy anything else from you. Just a thought. All right. Well, I spent most of my evening hanging out with some retired and active cops, having dinner, sharing stories. It was a really good time. In a way, it's like looking forward to Gamehole Con, because I expect to be sharing tables with many people from this community and sharing a beer, sharing a drink, and generally having a good time. Isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what hanging out with your community is? I mean, and we're all parts of multiple communities. They aren't exclusive. It isn't like you can only be part of the OSR community. I can also be part of the overall gaming community. I can also be part of, the law enforcement community in the New York City area. Or, when I go to GaryCon and I see some of the cops from around the country who go there, there's that community that pulls us together. So, if you're going to Gamehole, my wife Rach, we look forward to seeing you. Okay, it should be a really good time. So, stop by, sit with us, chat, have a beer or two, at least during happy hour, I guess, right? And I'm looking forward. All right, folks, on that note, as always, be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice. I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.